Today we're going to look at blacklists. Particularly what I'd like to look at is just a couple of things I'm going to put here, summarize the text below that we have here on the website. First and foremost, we're going to look at blacklists, then we're going to look at why MailChimp is important. MailChimp will be in another second video. We're going to focus on blacklists on this first video. First thing to recognize is that there are things called blacklists, the definition of which is basically a list of IPs. An IP address is Internet Protocol. It's that little what is it, 3, 6, 9, 12 digits. It's called your IP address. Sometimes you'll see it written as 192.168.1.1 on a local area connection. It's basically your online locator number. When that number has been blocked, it prohibits you from sending or receiving emails, accessing web content, accessing the web at all through a specific server or portal. So you can be blacklists across the whole internet. If all 20 of the enterprise blacklisting services blacklist you, or you could be blacklisted on a single server, depending on sort of how they rate spam. For the context of this video, we're going to be talking about email blacklisting, specifically IP addresses that are connected to what we call an MX mail server. So on any server that is serving mail, it usually does this through the MX protocol. And that is connected to an IP address, and sometimes due to spamming or other related online behaviors with the email, that can become blacklisted. Typically what happens in these cases is your ISP or your internet service provider, such as Comcast, AT&T, Roadrunner, Time Warner Cable, and so on and so forth, SBC Global, for instance, which is an AT&T company, will blacklist your MX mail server IP, in which case you'll be unable to, let's say, unable to send emails to Comcast, or unable to send emails to AT&T or perhaps SBC Global. Now, some other ways that you can get blacklisted besides are through antivirus softwares. Norton Trend Microsystems offers a really nice little email system, and in their email you can click spam. And if you spam something in their email client, it's really silly how this happens, but it can severely affect your online reputation all across the entire global network if you get enough people doing that. Let's go to the next slide here. Here we're going to talk about B-list. We're going to go to, I'm on a B-list. I'm on a blacklist. How did this happen? There's really two ways that you get listed. One, you were reported by a person. So there's three key reasons why people are going to complain to their ISP about your emailing. One, they didn't sign up for the emails that you're getting them and they regard them as trash. Two, the content is not relevant. That is to say, they might have signed up, but you're giving them content that they didn't ask for or didn't sign up for. And three, even though they signed up and the content is relevant, it's just coming in too much and it's getting on their nerves. So they put you in their spam or their trash folder. Outlook and other mail clients observe those trash folders, monitor them, send back information to the server, and they say, hey, listen, all this trash is, all these emails on several of our accounts are in the trash bin. Maybe this is considered spam. So that's one way they can get you. The other way is that you're doing something inappropriate with your email behavior. One of the most important things to consider are your rate limits. There are rate limits per message. So that means most of the time AT&T and Comcast limit you to 100 recipients per message. So if you're sending out 300 emails to your parishioners on a Tuesday for a Sunday, and let's say, for instance, you're a church or a nonprofit organization, you have a very large email list, and many of your email recipients are on Comcast or AT&T, if you breach that 100 recipients per message mark, they're gonna get a little upset with you. Now, let's say you hit that mark with 100 recipients, and then you made a mistake in the email and you submit it again. Now you've got 200 email recipients, and you're slowly degrading your IT reputation through the AT&T and SBC Global networks, as well as Comcast. Then there's your rate per hour. This is how many emails you're allowed to send on an hourly basis. And each of our ISP service providers has a different amount, so you should probably check with your ISP provider to find out what their rate per hour, that is the rate of emails per hour. Rate per connection, that's how many people can be, rate per connection. Let's see, it's per connection, how many times you can, this one has, let me make sure I got this, recipients per connection, that's what it is. This is the amount of recipients that are allowed to receive your email per a single connection. This is a little more complicated. Then there's simultaneous concurrent connections. If you're in a big office or a network, a single IP can only host so many concurrent email connections simultaneously. It's normally the first two that get people in trouble, not the latter two. The second inappropriate email behavior that is done is non-deliverable messages or receipts not found messages, also known as not our customers or NDNs. These are typically registered by most ISPs as unsubscribers. What happens here in this case is someone has given you an email, they've showed some interest in your content, you're sending them emails, but for whatever reason they cancel their email is canceled for them, they change their ISP service providers, and the email is no longer relevant. In which case you get a bounce back message from Comcast, AT&T, SBC Global, stating initially, hey, there's a client here, but this client's no longer with us. If you could do us a favor and stop emailing us to this email, we'd really appreciate it. And you don't, because you keep it on your emailing list. Now all of a sudden you keep emailing. Now they think it's a computer emailing their server, and they're going to blacklist you. The other is what we call domain name server blacklist. This is when your actual hosting company has been blacklisted for a wide variety of reasons. This could be the primary hosting provider. It could be Comcast, AT&T has been blacklisted, or what they call block IPs could be blacklisted. That's like 100,000 IPs at once because of some spam or infiltration that occurs. It can be your local hosting, such as at MME Chicago Design Studios. What we're really saying here is the IP address that you're using to access your email somehow found its way onto a DNS BL. Now, Spamhaus, Zen, and Return Path, and CloudMark Sender Intelligence are three of the top, or what we call enterprise blacklisting services. Comcast, AT&T, SBC Global, Time Warner Cable, and others actually subscribe to these enterprise level blacklisting services to keep an eye and keep track on all of the spam that's coming through their email. Now, sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes it's not your behavior. Sometimes it's because it's a new IP address. It takes a while for IP addresses to develop reputations online. And when you have a new email address and it starts to email large quantities of emails, the server really doesn't know what to do with it at first. And sometimes it'll do what we call a false positive and blacklist you. What we want to do then, what we do is get on their abuse network, their abuse, or what we call anti-abuse networks, and we work with them to whitelist our IPs. ISP blocked. Big companies do block. Well, we already talked about this a little bit, but AT&T again, Comcast, SBC Global, these big companies will sometimes block each other. Sometimes there's an infiltration and a server goes haywire because a hacker's gotten in and is using a server to attack another company's email servers, or using that one company's email servers to spam another's, in which case a whole host of blocks, what we call IP blocks are blocked. Sometimes primary hosting providers such as Bluehost, Gatorhost, DreamHost, GoDaddy are also doing this sort of IP blocks, or blocking large sets of IPs to protect clients from spam. And of course, we have our MME product that may be a part of a larger block problem. Here are some common errors that occur that you want to look for. So whenever you receive a block message, you're going to receive a few things. The first thing you're going to receive is sort of a specialized number. Now, this number is sort of integrated into the bounce message in such a way that the typical user won't really understand or be able to find it. But if you'll forward us your blocked message, we'll be sure to take a look at these numbers and get in contact with the internet service provider that sent you the block and try to unblock that for you. Be sure to review the video down below called I believe it's sending us your header files, because we're going to need those header files along with your bounce message if we're going to do this appropriately. You can see here that these I think come from, I want to say Time Warner Cable. These are some. No, this is called Microsoft, their live account and their Hotmail accounts. So their 421 RP001 error is the mail server IP connecting to Outlook server has exceeded the rate limit allowed. There's your rate limit. Their 002 is that their mail server IP connecting to Outlook server has exceeded the rate limit allowed per connection. This is the rate limit allowed per users or per domain reputation, and this one is the rate limit per connection, and this exceeds the connection limits allowed. So here's your three different types of errors that may occur. What can you do? What can we do to help you? Well, if you'll copy the header files and send it in the email to us, what that means is we want the full bounced email plus the email header. What does that mean? You'll have to look at our video below to understand what it means, how to copy that information to us correctly. Send mail that our customers want to receive. How can you prevent or stay out of trouble? There's three real steps here. Send mail that customers want to receive, and use what we call a confirmed or double point opt-in process. MailChimp is a really good example of a double point opt-in process. What might that look like? Well, people come to your website, they see the email they see your website first and foremost. On the right-hand side, something that says subscribe to email. They subscribe, they get an email. In that email, they then confirm that they want to subscribe to a certain list of yours. Once they've subscribed to it, then they're placed on the list. Only after what we call a confirmed or double opt-in process. That's what that means. Handle your bounces. When you receive a bounce message, make sure to get that over to us quickly so that we can assist you, especially those, and make sure to delete any bounce messages that indicate that that email address no longer is associated with that company. They don't like to receive spam and get tons of hits that are irrelevant to them. They think it's a server trying to spam them. So get rid of those. Separate your transactional emails from your promotional emails. I can't tell you how many clients come to me and say, I'm getting blacklisted all the time. What am I doing wrong? If you're going to promote a business and product material, you want to best accomplish this through you don't want to send promotional, that is marketing materials, right? And transactional materials on the same IP. Chances are that you're going to see a different complaint and delivery rates from one versus the other. And it's usually thought a good practice to separate such email streams so that you ensure that you're not going to pollute the clean email stream with the dirty market or promotional materials. So be careful when you're using transactional emails and promotional emails. You don't want your business workflow to be negatively impacted by the way that you're marketing your business through emails. Now, if you'd like to learn more about email blacklisting and how you can, and some of the resources, you can go to m2echicago.com/support, search for email blacklist, and you'll be sure to get a lot more information.